Okay, there's Linda Good McGillis and there's Alexander Quinn. And Linda is going to talk about our transformation that has gone since last August. So I'm going to let her speak. Know that we are 666 carbon based, and she's going to describe some of the, the changes that we're going through and the symbology that's tied to it that I'll be able to speak to. So listen to her describe this. Now, just to set this up, she is a what you would call a divine feminine crystalline grid encoder, in that she has visibility at a very quantum level with holograph management and everything else to observe what's going on and what's coming at such quantum levels that Alexander relies on her to kind of tell the future because she's able to do it in her way. So if you kind of speak not necessarily her light language, but if you speak her English language and you discern what she says, it's tremendous. So I've set her up very well and listen to her.
There's a lot going on. The Lion's Gate, I had mentioned in a live video I had done last week, I think it was, the importance of this Lion Gates with the new moon. We just had a full moon in Aquarius at 1 degrees. And it's rare for us to have two full moons in the same constellation on the celestial side, if you will. And the 22nd, we're coming into a full moon in Aquarius at 29 degrees and a new moon in Leo right smack in the middle of the two. And why is that important? Because on the celestial side of things, for every 3 days you're in the linear world, 10,000.
Now, the other reason Leo is significant is because Regulus is in Leo, and that was the top star in the four-star conjunction when Yeshua ben Joseph was born on 9/11, 3 BC. So August has significance, and the Lion's Gate has significance to the rising of Sirius against Orion. And it's called the Lion's Gate portal, where really good stuff happens for all of us because of what the Lion of Judah accomplished.
1,000 light years goes by. So as we walk through on the outside of these realms, through Aquarius, we're literally walking through the entire age of Aquarius on the cosmic celestial side, from the full moon at 1 degrees through the full moon at 29 degrees. And again, everything happens instantly out in eternity time, or no time outside of time and space continuum. And so with this new moon in Leo.
Very quickly, also, coming up on 12 April, Neptune and Jupiter, again, Jupiter, significant, and Neptune, the water planet, will be in Aquarius.
Leo represents Father Sky, it represents the sun of our soul. It literally represents us outside of this realm. And with it being in a new moon, with the Stargate opening of the 8-8 Lions Gate, which started on the 26th of July, the new galactic year, that is the Syrian aspect of us, are the guardians of the lower seven heavenly echelon realms. And they go into a.
So think the planet Sirius as it stands up against Orion with Aldebaran in opposition on the other side. But the Syrians have won, they won Egypt, and that's why the Sphinx is what it is in the analogy of the lion, because it's all about Sirius with the support of the Andromedians and the Arcturians and all the angels that support the one true creator who Yeshua did it for everybody.
A what's the right word? A conjunction, a unity of guardianship with the Arcturians and the Pleiadians in the higher seven heavenly echelon realms. And so, with this Syrian Stargate, we are bringing back an ancient world in this case because we are fully into a new sun cycle now. And so the manifestation ability right now with this landscape up through the 12th truly can produce miracles. And this is where you see summer cruising through it. I'm cruising through it so easily. Others that are around me are not cruising through it so easily. Where there's a lot of transitioning going on. There's a lot of ascension symptoms going on, especially in the heart, because Leo is the heart of the lion, and this Stargate literally lit up and illuminated all of the stars, if you will, in the lion's crown, the lion's head, if you will, on a constellation aspect of it. And so as that crown got illuminated, or the star grid within the physical avatar vessels, we went through the inversion of what is known as the etheric pole shift that occurred in December of 2012. So this is death and birth. This is destruction and creation. This is chaos and order. This is feminine, masculine, dark, light, all of it literally zero pointed and necessary for star seeds, way showers, light workers, whatever label they need, to truly choose a whole different world. And so everything in the body has now been completely realigned with a 616 blueprint from a 666.
Here we go. This is important.
All the information, anything that's being triggered, any inverted solar coding that is associated with those 5 neurons / electrons that we have now released. You hear people talking about...
Yeah, because the 666 is what makes up carbon.
Yes. And so the DNA has now 5 less neurons. So everything in the Kundalini, now the Kundalini, instead of bouncing up and down, as you guys bounce between 2 realms, 2 worlds, bringing it into your vessels in the past and the future, the vertical and horizontal meridians are now completely aligned and reconnected to only 1 neuron. And so anything of these ascension symptoms is all information of those 5 electrons, 5 neurons that we don't need. That is all information.
Okay, so the last thing that she said applies to all the people I've talked to, and a lot of good ascending people who are just having a lot of problems. The reason for that is we had 5 protons, neutrons, and electrons. She called them neurons, same thing. So, quick refresher, call it chemistry or whatever. This is carbon. So you have 666, protons, neutrons, and electrons. I just put zeros there, but that's what we're talking about. So they're broken out. Now you have 6 protons. I kept them circled here. Now you have 6 neutrons. She says that 5 are gone. So go up here and deduct. Now you're at 6-1, and there's 6. There had been 6 electrons that were unaffected, 616. And the way electrons work is you've got an inner orbit and an outer orbit. So the original configuration of just protons and electrons was 6 and 6, broken out like this. So now it's 6, 1, 2, and then 4 on the outer bandwidth. And I just think that's important for the upcoming transformation on the 12th of April. So let me try and do the best I can to explain the essence of what's going to occur and kind of clock back in here. So, just as an aside, as far as densities of consciousness and moving things, waterborne insects are really the first. No kidding, above the surface, you got it going on. And we got this Neptune part of the conjunction coming up. So, it's just significant because it's the essence of the needle, the natural needle that they genetically modified to get us going with viruses. So, kind of back up for a second. When this conjunction occurs on 12 April, the targets of our Creator and all the angels and all the energy is the surface of our blood vessels. And the two opposition things that are going to be dealt with on the surface of our blood vessels, if you're awake and you're paying attention and you've been prepared with your diet and want to max this out, you're going to get it. So the two big problems we have are viruses and bacteria. And I try to explain the differences here. This is all kind of the virus line. So viruses are, as we know, Bill Gates did it in Microsoft, a virus. So it's an artificial technology in its essence. You know, and it's man-made, it can be put in a vaccine, and way back when, they figured out how to put it in a mosquito, and it was the needle that bit us. So it's a waterborne insect. They figured out at that early stage how to get that into the blood, the virus into the blood, genetically manipulating it scientifically from way back. The dark side figured out how to do it, got put into mosquitoes, and of course the product of the virus is called dengue, and it kills people in the third world that aren't prepared for it. But the big solution is quinine, hydroxychloroquine, because that's antiviral. That's what Trump took on TV, and what the bad guys at the top won't give you now if you're smart enough to ask for it. But hydroxychloroquine is obviously doing battle against the virus. It's proven. You know, you can do the word breakout. Hydroxychloroquine, it's the white horse of Revelation. So the other challenge that we have on the surface of our blood is bacteria. And I tried to differentiate between the two. This is natural, this is biological. Bacteria grows, and I would say that to say that viruses multiply is a heavy statement. It's something that I'm not prepared to talk about off the top of my head, but I certainly know that in the case of bacteria, we're talking about germ warfare, and the fact that the drugs that we take to catch the bad stuff and kill it, it's a rat race that's going on with the problem against the solution. And in this case, it's naturally introduced in that the germs we know are the cause of the problem that you sneeze out and you get the goobers. There's different symptoms from a virus or a cold, and we know what they are, and there's different superficial treatments that we can take for each. You know, feed a cold, starve a fever, and many of these things work as countermeasures, but this is the essence of the problem. And I'm not a scientist, but I'm explaining to you that on the 12th of April, if you're set up for it, this is what is going to be dealt with. So that's kind of all one thing that I'm saying. And then I'm going to qualify what Linda had said about this 666 going to 616. I view this as, you know, as she mentioned, our spinal column kind of got compressed by dropping all these neutrons, and call that the more space that you have in between something, the more difficult it is to communicate. And you start throwing shots of tequila on all carbon man and vaccines or whatever, you're in big trouble. So with us knowing this is going on, and these since August now, that video was about August, so we are now wearing this, which means that we lost a lot of buffer that we're not supposed to have, because the compression allows for speed to occur. And when you're supplementing it with water, there are kind of mathematical things that are going on here, positively and negatively, that are going to give you the water the water energy. The water energy is going to get the buffer as opposed to the carbon energy. So that if that makes sense from a water standpoint, the lucidity of our system is going to be affected by the cosmic part and by us being smart enough to drink water. That is the biggest thing that we can do. It's the only physical thing that we really need. And obviously mineral water and all the things that are additive for us are good for us right now. So this is the opposition. It's going to be hammered by source and by cosmic energy from this conjunction on the 12th. And I think that because we've already been sort of pre-suited here, when this stuff comes to get let's characterize this as negative energy now on the surface, that when this gets brushed off by the cosmic scrubbing bubbles of antibacterial, antiviral, natural, going to get it, part of the contribution may be, see, as a cheat sheet guy, I'm just telling you that it's all about positive energy, spinning it positive. And right now, our biochemical setup was perfectly neutralized at 666. Now we got a little bit of acceleration just by the elimination of the 5 neutrons, and we've still got the balance going on here that's really 2 inside and 4 on the outside in orbits. And here's water so here's protons, and here's your inside and outside stuff going on there. So this is negative water energy substituting negative carbon energy. And I think just in the way of a positive rotation to accelerate us, see, we've got the inversion of our avatar that's coming, and we've just got the speed of our bodies to be able to process that we want to be loving, and love is like a positive thing. You eliminate the negative, you go with the analogies of love to go positive, and it's going to transform everything. Like, if you don't know anything that I'm talking about, if you have love in your heart, your feeling is going to go Viper vessel, because we're going in that direction. And I tried to just explain it to you in a biochemical way, and I'm not a scientist. So I think there's going to be a reduction in negative energy this way over a longer term that is going to be kind of another element on the periodic table, with 6 being a basis on the positive side for now. And I'm not prepared to talk about where that's going on the positive side. We just know that there are, this crystalline grid, and there's things like that, and the exchange that occurs. We're going to leave carbon. So the exit strategy is coming out of this 6 right here. That's a key number that's going away. So the exchange with water, which I'm not even going to try and do the pluses and minuses of the integers that are happening for the exchange between carbon and hydrogen, with oxygen being the trade-off. So that's how the math is going to move us to eventually breathing prana when we get to upper 4th density light beings, and we're more like, 500 years from now, we're bamboo people, but we're still doing pretty good because we're going to new dimensions of awareness, and we defy everything. So everyone's going to go to their perfectly designed avatar, so we can all get our divine inheritance that you are going to learn about. It's going to come natural to you. So I hope this made sense. I hope it was helpful. And just to prove that I'm a humanoid and I'm still awake, I received some complaints about nudity on my channel, and that won't be tolerated by anybody. Anybody who, especially somebody wearing pink, you know what I'm saying? Like, because some of us understand what the upper chakra are all about, and I do. What can I say? What can I say? I was noticed. I was commented upon. I'm a man. I was topless, and I'm beklemd. Is that a word? It was, I don't know that word. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. from the bottom of my carbon and from the blood that's running through my heart. It feels very good. And love one another as he loved us. You get them triads going, you start finding out things about yourself that are going to be pretty surprising. So it's all a big surprise. Surprise! Hopefully the Chinese aren't too mad at us. They shouldn't be mad at us. We're not mean to them. They stole our stuff. So they shouldn't torture us with 5G radars and stuff. Mom, tell them no. Alright. Bye.